Hi there, everyone. It's Nick here from TrainAid. In today's video, we are looking at the Level 4 Certificate in Education and Training, and we are embarking upon Unit 6, which is looking at inclusive practice. So the first question is to analyse factors that influence learning. So for this question, we are going to investigate the many different types of factors which can influence inclusive practice. So the key here as teachers, as educators, we want to make an inclusive teaching and learning environment. And there's a number of different factors which we're going to investigate, such as personal factors, social factors, cultural factors, which can really sort of influence the classroom dynamics. And we are just going to investigate each of those factors. And we're just looking at ways and we're going to seek advice on how to promote this inclusive culture within your classroom as well. So I'm going to be talking through each of the factors and just giving you some pointers on how to construct your assignment answer as well. So just here we have the instructions. So the first question, as mentioned, analyze factors that influence learning. So for this assignment question, you need to analyze the different learner factors which can impact on teaching a lesson. So when we talk about factors of learning, it's all to do with the learner. So personal factors, social, and so forth. So think about when you're teaching a new class for the first time. Think about the classroom dynamics. What methods do you employ to help create this inclusive teaching and learning environment? So this is what this question is all about here. And when you come to the table, on the left-hand side, we have got the category. So the first one is personal factors. What we'd like for you to do is very much to summarize what personal factors mean, okay, personal factors of learning, and if there are any methods that you use to promote an inclusive teaching and learning environment to support learners, then please do add an example. So maybe just add one example of what you do in terms of your teaching. But let's go for the first row. Let's look at this key term called personal factors. So when we talk about personal factors, this is all to do with the learners, their personality, how confident they are, whether perhaps they're an introvert or an extrovert, their attitude and interest in the subject as well. It could also be to do with their motivation levels for the course. They could be really intrinsically motivated, so that's motivation from within, or they could be externally motivated as well. So that's otherwise known as extrinsic motivation. So you're motivated by outside factors such as rewards, targets as well. So we'll come on to that in a moment. Other personal factors could be any sort of previous learning experiences. Have learners had a positive learning experience previously, or they may have had perhaps not the best experience, and therefore when they come onto your course, they might be reluctant to trying new activities as well. So what we need to do is we need to explain what personal factors are. So maybe just use the key points here as a bit of a guide, and you're writing just a paragraph or two, just explaining what personal factors are. So personal factors are very much to do with the individual, your individual learners, and you'll see their personality, their individual characteristics, their individual traits, and that can influence the way in which they learn. Everyone is individual. You put two learners into a room, you experience diversity. So we're thinking as teachers, how can we get the best way out of them to learn? And I always think through perhaps initial assessment such as an application form or an interview, we can sit down with the learner and find out what makes them tick in terms of their learning and their preferred learning style. So a personal factor example that I've found within my own teaching is the learner's motivation for the course. If a learner is intrinsically motivated, as mentioned before, the motivation comes from within. They've got a strong desire or passion or a natural passion for the subject, which is fantastic. Some learners might be extrinsically motivated. They're driven by external rewards, other pressures such as grades, praise, competition, rewards from others as well. So it's kind of a delicate balance. So you might get learners with a kind of a blend. Some are there for intrinsic purposes. They have the passion for the subject. Others might be more extrinsically motivated. Perhaps they've been told to go on your course for a reward or a purpose. So there is that kind of balance. So we need to think about how can we cater for everyone in terms of creating this inclusive environment. So I think that when it comes to this, having a balance of activities is key. So for intrinsically motivated learners, I think really good topics are discussions, debates, opportunities for them to be creative, presentations, group work, especially. However, you do have some learners who are extrinsically motivated. You need to be really, really clear in terms of instructions, expectations, time frames. When will they achieve the qualification? What does the grading criteria look like? So you need to have that sort of delicate balance of curiosity, but also outcome as well. So when and where learners will be achieving their goals as well. But that's obviously one way in which to support learners in terms of in terms of motivation for the subject. But I think for when answering this question, just a brief summary of what personal factors mean. Okay, so it's all to do with the learner, but also maybe think about how can you support the learner as well in terms of their personality types as well. And that is very much it. So personal factors is all to do with the learner's personality, their attitude and interest for the subject, motivation for the course, and any previous learning experiences. So just to summarize what personal factors mean, and maybe just an example of a method that you use to promote an inclusive learning environment. So that's my first row. I will come on to the other categories in a moment, but thank you for watching, and I hope the video has been useful.